Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm going to start off with the dollar. So we came down a little bit, we had a little run in the precious metals, and then it bounced. And we got a stall in the precious metals after that. So we'll see what happens, but you can tell on the long-term chart how we broke out from the 34 SMA on a weekly. So it's changing trend, or it's back in positive areas. Look for price to come down as the 8 crosses over the 34, and we'll go from there. But so far we're working with a double top on the dollar for the week. S&P looks like a little rounding top, right? Another reversal bar there, a little up and down action. Try to make it one more time, and then came down below the EMA 8 today, but closed above. So we are working now with a lower high on a daily. For the week on the S&P, could very well do anything it wants, but needs to close above previous highs. Right now for the week we are looking at a bearish piercing pattern if it can go past 50% of the previous candle. So we'll keep an eye on that, as 50% is approximately 2160. So it's not too far off the mark if for the week it wants to do a bearish piercing pattern. And we got support all the way down where the previous break was. So keep watching that. 10-year bond for the US, still consolidating over the 34. Looks like inverted hammers. I would look for a previous high break on this thing, as it's consolidating over the 34, closing above the EMA 8 and 13, bouncing today hard. So we'll see what happens. For the week so far we are being knocked back, and it looks like we are starting to show tri-tips, which are wicks pointing opposite direction. So look for a previous low break on a downturn on the bonds. It looks like we got pushed back, breaking in the previous lows 3 times now. See how the week ends up. It's only Tuesday. Let's see. Deutsche Bank does not look good for Deutsche Bank coming up. It looks like we came down today 22 cents. Looks like 1.5% off the mark. Looks like we're being pushed back by previous lows, and the EMA 8 sitting right there, acting as a strong resistance for Deutsche Bank, as it came all the way into the EMA 8 and got bounced back. Look for previous low breaks in this candle. Looks like 14 and below. Previous low break at 14. Anything could happen. Just look for previous low or high breaks. Could certainly get into previous lows and make a try for the 34, but not yet, as it looks like it's coming into resistance and backing off. The German bond still negative, but nice consolidation over the 34. Down 36% today. It's trading like a penny stock. You can see the bullishness and then the knockback. This is still bullish until it gets taken out, which is below -20. So we're still bullish on these encompassing patterns, but looks like we're being pushed back. Doesn't look good for any of these bonds or the dollar or anything. Let's look at the crude coming down into where support lies. As we start to hit previous lows and previous highs, 42.30, 42.40 is a great line of support. Look for a price to come back all the way into 40 as it bounces here. But a test of bullishness is it turns around before it hits the 34. So we'll see what happens. If it needs to, it'll come all the way back down, even come below and whip back across. See what happens. But we are breaking here shortly into previous highs, all the way into support. So anywhere, I'm thinking anywhere between where we're at now and the 40 mark, anywhere around here can turn around. So look for bounces. But a nice, very nice bullish retracement back into support on crude. It's a bullish move. Bullish consolidation pattern. Gold. Let's trying one more time, getting across that trend line, coming down. Looks like we're dealing with distribution and then accumulation all through there. We're looking at a reverse head and shoulders pattern. I believe this is the 5-hour chart. So what I'm looking for is a final break, and it looks like we're consolidating above our downward trend. It looks like we got EMA 8, 13 crossing over the 34. Price closed above all of them, so it looks good. All we need is a previous high break, flat top break at 1330 approximately. So I think it's fighting getting above these previous lows. So I think it looks healthy. We've got long way to go. This thing could just come back across, make an opposing point. So look for that on gold. Otherwise, a previous high break at 1330 should get this thing rolling to the upside. Right now it looks good because we're consolidating over the trend line there. That's not very big break across the trend line, but it is over it and it is consolidating. So we'll see what happens. Price was in a heavy pinch Sunday, Monday. You can hear the corkscrew winding, but not much of a pop outside of that line. So we got an upward trend, higher lows. We got the SMA 34 coming down, making that pinch, and we popped above, but not much of a pop. So we'll have to see how the rest of the week works out, as we need some upside on this thing. It's primed, it's ready to go, but it's just something holding it back. Here's the daily chart. Nice bounce. Off of the 34 twice now. Look for a third time coming across. Third time's a charm. It always breaks down. I guess not always, but most of the time on the third try. So it looks good as a consolidation, but it just need a little bit more push on the upside. So I don't know where that's coming or not. But look for previous low breaks at 13.13. Otherwise, we're in the pinch on a daily chart. Weekly, so far for the week, just a little higher low so far. So we'll see what happens. But we're above the EMA 8, so the bullishness is intact. Silver, same thing. 5-hour chart broke outside of its pattern, making a try for the SMA 34 next. I thought it was going to do it a few times today, but did not. It's a 5-hour chart. Let's move to a daily. Somehow my line got screwed up. But you can see the support. You can see the SMA 34 coming up. So price is in that pinch. I thought it was going to break out. Look for a flat top break at 1980. So there you go. And then you can see it clearly on a weekly. The higher low being put in so far this week. We are above trend. Trend is pointing straight up. So let's get some bounce. Let's get some consolidation. Let's break that 21. That might not happen this week, but next month is looking good. We're primed to move forward. Copper. Some would say that if copper runs, silver's going to follow right with it. So let's see. Let's keep a monitor on copper, as we need a flat top break right in this area. So I believe last week it came back down, tried again, gave up. Too many wicks might push it down. Too many upside wicks might push this thing all the way across. But so far we do have tweezer tops with a lower high. But all in all, it's above our trend. EMA 8, 13 have crossed. All we need is a little bounce and a flat top break, and then it's off to the races on copper. So time will tell. Looks healthy. It's got a lot of support on the way down. These are my supports. And the trend is trying to change, so let's see if it'll change for the better. Crossing ultimately previous high, which is 230. So it's not too far off. It's ready. Just need a little push. GDX. Nice bounce. And we're coming off that bounce. Let's see above 29 on GDX, as momentum is going to carry it across this flat top break. Maybe hit 30 again. Once we get 30, let's reevaluate and see if we can make new highs. It's too soon to say. It could make an opposing point, and then we'll have higher lows. Don't want that to happen. GDX, same thing. Let's look on a weekly. You can see nice hammer forming for the week on GDX. Nice bounce for the week's end on GDXJ. There's another hammer right over the 8. Well, I guess it's not a hammer yet until it confirms next week on the upside, and very well could be a hanging man if it broke on the downside. So let's pay attention to that. Let's close above previous highs. Let's make new highs. But nice reversal bar forming on a weekly chart on the miners. So keep watch of that. So first part of the week, it's forming in a hammer. It's knocking out a bottom during the beginning of the week. Since we got 3 more days, this could keep pushing forward. But right now, as day 2 forms a hammer, day 3 could be a previous high break. So keep watch. Let's take a look at First Majestic. Since silver is acting all crazy, trying to make a bounce. Nothing to see yet, but we did get a nice bounce today on silver. We need to break 16, fill the gap. Ultimately, breaking a flat top break at 17 will show this long-term chart. The downtrend is going to try to break. My other chart I had it looks a little different on my other chart. But anyways, look for resistance coming into 18 to 19 as we have a downtrend. And then ultimately you want to consolidate above this and keep moving higher. So that's pretty much it, guys. Silver, I think, is going to be coming back, following gold. Something needs to hit the markets because it's hesitant all day on gold and silver whether or not it wanted to break out. So, oops. Got a little higher lows, hitting previous lows. You can see the EMA 8 and 13 are battling with these previous lows. You definitely want to close the week above 1950. Or excuse me, closer to 20. So let's get that done. Stop screwing around. That's it, guys. Everything looks good. Pay attention to the foreign markets. If Europe crashes, make sure you are prepared to take your money out of the banking system. That's all I can say. But thanks for your comments. One thing I wanted to comment on is I know I was throwing out there a couple hints and clues, and the EMA 8 and the 13 and the SMA. These are just indicators. So these are just lines of reference. Now what I was talking about, like when the 3 EMA crosses the 8 on a daily chart, you can pinpoint bottoms and tops. Well, use that as just a reference point, because what I really want you to do is concentrate on price action, where price breaks previous low, where price breaks previous highs. Not so much when EMA 8 crosses the 13, because it's delayed. It's just an indicator that the trend is intact. The 8's going below the 13. But a lot of times you'll see the EMA 8 cross over the 13 and whip right back across. So these things take a long time, and once it crosses and then all of a sudden price comes back the other way, you get a false negative. So don't use the lines for trade signals, just a reference point. For longer term charts, like on a longer term chart, the EMA crosses here. Well, the price already broke and came all the way back down by the time EMA crossed the 13. So it's not a good signal, it's just a reference point. Like I know right here that the EMA 8 is well above the 13 and they're both pointing up. So that's my trend, intermediate trend. So don't use the lines for crossing signals. You want to use price. When price crosses previous highs, that's when you go in. Not when they cross, because it's delayed. It's just a reference point. You can see a chart now that price is well above EMA 8 and you got support. The EMA 8 is above the 13, so you got more support. The EMA 13 and 8 are below the trend. the SMA 34 long-term trend. So you got support all the way down, and ultimately be careful here, because most of the time price comes down to meet as EMA crosses over the 34. But this is a monthly chart. That mostly happens on a weekly chart. So for the week, same thing. You can see the cross here, but see, price was already up here. So it's not a signal to trade. It's just a reference point, an indication of where the trend is at. So don't use it for trading. Just use it for signals. Use it for support and resistance, like I've been talking about. But like what I meant was, if I have a long-term chart and I can see right away that the EMA 8 is above 13 but below the 34, I can see what's going to happen next. Almost. These are just references. Nothing to trade off of. On a daily, you want to use the 3, 5, and 8 EMA. I'll have to get an example of that. But on a daily chart, the EMA 3, 5, and 8, when the 3 crosses over the 8, you can be pretty sure that the top is in. And it's just another way to see, but a lot of times the price has already moved on when those crosses happen. So don't use them as signals, just use them as reference, as an indication of what's going on. So I just wanted to clarify that. I'm using my lines for support and resistance and finding my trends. Intermediate trends are my EMA 8 and 13, and my long-term trends are my 34. But they're all interchangeable except for my major trend 34 SMA. I can go in here and use the 8 and the 21, or the 8 and the 5, or the 8 and the 3, either or. I can add another line in here, the EMA 55, and just keep going on. These are all Fibonacci numbers, but whatever works for you. This works for me. I haven't changed this system in well over 10 years. It just works as support and resistance lines and knowing where your trend is. And it's important. So that's all I got, guys. Appreciate it, and just wanted to clarify there. The lines are fun. They're magical. But don't use them for trading signals. Just use them as a reference. But other than that, thank you guys. Thanks for all the questions, and I'll see you later.